Hello, Chaos here. Today I wanted to discuss the difference between live World of Warcraft and vanilla World of Warcraft, um, which is the first version of the game. And I personally myself, I've played the World of Warcraft for 7 years. I've started in vanilla, I reached like level 40, and then I never reached max level. So it was interesting because I recently also played like the last expansions or so, but I got bored really quick with new expansions, which it was to be expected, I guess. But in I tried on the private server. I don't know if you know Elysium, and I just really like it again for some reason, and I want to discuss the design decisions they took over time. So starting with the leveling experience, I found like the leveling experience in Legion is like so unappealing. It's not. It's just you do it once and you get okay cutscenes and stuff, but it's not immersive. And I think that part of that is because you you feel like you're just roaming through everything and just going through it like no problem. There's nothing that stops you. There's no obstacles that stop your progress and make you think like, oh, this world has something, you know. This is a world instead of a single player, and that's the main thing about it. And well, on like the Legion, you can get like max level in 1 or 2 days. In in vanilla, it's like the average player takes 1 month to get max level, which makes for a very interesting experience in that sense, because each level feels like a big accomplishment. And this is reinforced with the talent tree system they have, where each level you get a new talent, which is also doesn't exist in Legion anymore. It's like one talent every 15 levels. It's not very appealing in that sense. But because the leveling experience is so slow, it it just makes for a different experience. Like you're very invested in your character and very invested in the world in that sense. Because another factor that affects it is the not having a mount before level 40, which really helps reinforce the fact that the world is really big and walking from one point to the other takes forever. So you get all these challenges about time management and going the most efficient way possible without walking from one point to the other. And it's a different type. Like in Legion, you just mount up, run, you just pass through everything. You don't even care. And that's another part of the leveling experience I really enjoy in vanilla. Is like enemies are really fucking hard. Like I don't know how many times I died there. Like in Legion, it's almost impossible to die unless you're doing something incredibly stupid. But in vanilla, like you pull two guys, two, you're dead. Like really, it's really hard, and every fight takes so long. It feels like, yeah, it really feels like a challenge in that sense. Like you start the game and you think, oh, I'm just gonna rush through it, and then you get fucking owned by the first guy. It's like, fuck you. It's like Dark Souls type of difficulty feeling. It's not that difficult in the sense that you don't require much skill to dodge stuff, but it does make makes you sharpen up. You know, it's like, oh crap, I'm not a insane good hero. That's the feeling you get. You're like a pleb in this world. You're like a pleb, and you can barely kill anything. You're like on the edge of being able to do anything, and it it's funny because you really feel like you're like some kind of farmer or mercenary that's just taking jobs of anyone, any quest giver, just to get money and to survive. You know, that's a different feeling that you don't get in Legion. Like in Legion, it's like, yeah, just quest for, just experience. I don't care. I'll just max level, just do everything max level. It's like there's no challenge at all in that sense. And that's also like in Legion, like gold is, who cares about gold, right? But gold in vanilla, holy crap! You get new level, you need to learn new spells. Well, you're fucked because they cost a ton of gold. So you're always starving gold and always. This makes gold a real mechanic in the game, you know? Gold really becomes a mechanic in the game, which it's just disappeared in Legion. And it just makes you, every time you get some money, it just makes you excited. Like, even a little bit of copper, you get a little bit excited because gold is valuable. It's no longer like, whatever, you don't need it, you know? Um, so the other factor is like time investment. This is also kind of true in Legion, but you really feel invested. Once you get to higher levels with your character, you just really feel invested in your character, and you like really want to learn because you're so invested in a character. You want to learn more about this character, and you want to like master your character, and yeah, it's it's just something. It's an interesting dynamic because making the learning experience slow somehow creates a really interesting mechanic about how you perceive things. Like it's like Legion is giving everything to you in a plate. Like here, take everything. And in like the original game, it's like, nope, you're just like a pleb, and you have to survive. You know, it's a different kind of mindset in that sense, and I like it. Well, another topic to talk about is social relations. Um, in I noticed a lot in vanilla, like being uh being like put in a server, and like the only people you see are from your server, and you're stuck in a community. Um, that mechanic kind of makes it so that plus no well what I mean is that that mechanic plus the mechanic where everything is super hard, so you need other people to do stuff like killing elites. Like elites in Legion are like a joke. You can just solo elite like no problem. But in Vanilla WoW is like elite, you get two shot, man. It's ridiculous, ridiculously hard, and that requires grouping up, and that just creates this social relationship that you don't find in the game, in the retail game, where you're just forced to communicate with other people and create relationship and create positive relationships, and yeah, that's that kind of relations are not not really happening anymore because nobody cares. Everyone can just solo stuff, and then if you're not forced to group with other people, why would you group with other people? You would like to stay alone, right? And just breaks all the social relationship. And part of that is like Dungeon Finder and all that kind of stuff. Like Dungeon Finder is kind of fine, but for first it should never like teleport you to the dungeon. You should you should really have to walk and put effort in getting to the dungeon. Second, the dungeon should really feel like as painful as the leveling experience, you know. So you're really like, holy shit, I'm actually have to think about what I'm doing in a dungeon or I'm gonna fail. And then the third one is like you have to um, behave yourself in a sense, like with other people. Like you need other people, so you can't just go say, fuck you guys, yeah, I'll solo the dungeon and I'll do everything alone. That kind of dynamics is what kind of breaks the whole social experience in a sense. And like if Group Finder was just a tool like where you get groups for mythics, that would already be a lot healthier for the game. But up to another topic, the mystery factor. It's also an interesting topic. Um, in vanilla, you really have a factor where you don't know what's gonna happen. Like you plan your route, or you plan you think you know something, but normally doesn't end as well as you think. And partly, I think it's because a lot of information is hidden. So it's a challenge for the player to discover these things, right? It's like a mystery, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting in the game. Like if there is some mystery in the game, then you create curiosity, and it can be really really strong motivator in that sense. And in Legion, there were some secrets that created mystery, which was cool, but not the same as in vanilla. No, it's pretty different in that sense. Yeah. Another interesting topic was the natural flow, or the feel of the game. It it really, like, the vanilla WoW really feels like the developers like try to mimic more reality, or more the natural way of doing things. And although they might not seem engaging, or seem like a pain in the ass, or whatever other reasons people say, they do create a natural feel to it. Like, oh yeah, this makes sense. That feeling, that makes sense. Like if I would be, for example, if I would, I was always using an axe to hit enemies, and I were super good at killing enemies with axes. And now suddenly I got a sword, and I have no clue how to use this sword. I never taught with a sword, so it kind of makes sense. You have weapon skill, like, oh, you have to use your sword a lot to get good at it. That's an interesting dynamic that I liked about it. Also, I have like a love-hate relationship with mana in Vanilla WoW, where I was playing like a mage, as you can see in the picture, and after every enemy, I just run out of mana, and in that sense, it makes mana very valuable. You're really thinking about your mana, like, holy crap, how can I make it so I use less mana, so I don't have so less downtime, so I have to drink less, and it makes it like a relevant mechanic. But on the other hand, it's very painful mechanic, because I'm basically 80% of the time I'm sitting on the floor and drinking water. Yep. Another interesting topic is the PvP experience. Um, I really like like the idea that the world is hostile, and you have other players that are unfriendly. And sometimes you really get that feeling. Like, I try to go to Thousand Needles, and I'm like terrified. I'm terrified because there's so many hordes everywhere. Like, hordes are an enemy faction, and you just feel like, oh, I have to sneak around here and try not to get caught, and that's a really interesting dynamic that you don't get in the current game ever. But on the other hand, what I really hate about PvP is that like the higher levels just come and kill you instantly, and you're like, why? It's like you just it's just the I think the PvP would be like really good if they added some kind of mechanics that's super decentralized doing that, or just makes it flat impossible to kill lower players, because it's just no it just doesn't make sense. Like, you just kill someone and you can't even do anything against them, or you can't outplay them, or you can't do anything because they're high level, and they just resist everything, and they just dodge, and I don't know. It's just yeah. I think a part of that, the PvP, is like pretty good, because I really enjoy like just randomly bumping into enemies, and then I'm like, okay, is he friendly? Is he gonna attack me or not? And then if they attack me, like maybe they attack me in a group, and then I try to think about, oh, I sheep this guy, and then I do this and that, and it's really good, and it's not available in Legion at all. And I think the PvP works the best in the leveling experience, but because people always go in dungeons in Legion, it's no point, right? So they really need to nerf dungeons and Dungeon Finder, and then force people to walk around the world. Then it would be good. Which there's also this flying mount crap. Like, no, this flying mount's disabled everywhere. You just have to walk everywhere. Makes it feel a lot better. I think a good change to make like PvP and the leveling experience more like in time investment is, for example, to nerf, like, first remove the flying mounts. There's like no point in them. Just don't create any content for flying mounts. Don't make any requirements. Like, just no flying mounts. The second one is the ground mounts. They need to be nerfed, like to 40% movement speed, or something that makes it still like fucking long distance to go. It really helps with experience, actually, walking long distance. And then yeah, thirdly, you need to have like this anti high level camping bullshit. That should not happen. It's bullshit. It's not fun for anyone that's getting ganked by a high level. It's not fun PvP. Yeah, I think I'll just cut it here for now and go on with the second part.